the one thing I consistently do is forget what I'm doing. I forget to remember my own healing plan. And that is the human condition. It's what we all do. You know how we get all fired up? I'm going to change my life. These are all the new things I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start feeling better. And after a couple of weeks, it fizzles out. It could be you want to eat differently, you want to work out, you want to change your mindset. And we just let it go. And that is because we get all caught up in our current circumstances. Of course we do. Of course we do. That's what is surrounding us. It's our environment. And we forget to replace the old way of thinking, the old way of being, the old way of doing with all of our new aspirations, all of the new things we want. We haven't made room for them. That's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a lot of tips and tricks that have really served me well to help me stay on track, because literally we have to hijack our own brains and help it learn how to change. Welcome to my channel, Starting Over at 60. If you're here, I hope like me, you realize there is more life to live. It's not too late. It's not too late for you. It's not over. It's not, this is the way my life is. This is the way it has to be now. No, we now know, thanks to the beauty of science, that we have neuroplasticity. So our brains can change. And we used to think, remember, it was like, this is the way you are. Leopard doesn't change its spots. The way you are is the way you are until the day that you die. And it is true, once we get to our mid-30s, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, we have formed enough habits and moods, and it's created our personality. And that's generally how you're going to stay, unless you decide to consciously start making some changes. And of course, all we got to do is become aware of our thoughts. And that's the one thing we talk about a lot around here. Because if we're going to get out there and change the world, because never doubt the world is waiting for you, and we can only do it one person at a time, because the better I feel, the better I'm going to be to everybody in my circle. And if I feel good and then they feel good, and then they extend it out in their circle, this is how it works, right? It seems like the simplest thing, but it means everything. It means everything. It's the most important thing we can do, is start healing ourselves. So I tried to remember, you know what was I doing a couple of years ago when I began my own healing journey? And I realized I needed a lot of help to keep my brain on track. So I have now compiled a list of 7 things that worked for me, because I was so aware of my circumstances, of my present reality. It was really hard to think of anything else except for what was right in front of me, what was happening to me physically, what was happening in my relationships, what was happening as far as work went. Everything that was happening in my life was dictating the way I was thinking, which creates the way I'm feeling, and that feeling in your stomach, and it just becomes this loop, right? You're looping. So in order to bust out of that loop, in order to start thinking about what I was thinking about and becoming aware of my thoughts and realizing some of those old beliefs, they have to go. I got to write down some new beliefs. I didn't even know what the new beliefs would be, right? So what I started with was some professional help, and I did it in the form of calendars. So my number one trick to help you remember why you're trying to change and try and heal. Now this calendar is a self-love calendar. In the beginning, I realized that was my biggest challenge. I didn't speak very nicely to myself. I was filled with guilt and shame, from the alcohol, the numbing. I would, any way I could numb out, I would numb out. And I neglected a lot of people in my life, and I felt a lot of shame and guilt for it. So that just sort of creates that cycle of beating yourself up a little more. So this calendar, a self-love calendar, not only tells you like a little inspirational quote, it then gives you some actions. So for example, this one is, I'm always teaching people how to treat me. The other one that I wanted to share is, I'm trying to learn from my mistakes and forgive myself more quickly Life is too short to hold a grudge against myself. And then there's these little to-do actions. So this became something that was one daily, first thing in the morning, because I have it right on the ledge in my bathroom. That was year one. I went through all of the self-love, all of the little tips and trips that were in this. Now year two, so this was 2023. Year two, I was feeling like I had a little bit more of a handle on it. As far as the self-love, I was practicing and every day trying to find a way to just love myself. Year two, have you heard of Jen Sincero? How to be a badass. She's amazing. So she did a calendar. So I thought, I think I'm ready to be a badass. So this one says, would you rather hang out in a world where everyone feels happy and well taken care of and aspires to be the best they can be? Or would you rather be in a world where people live in fear and shame and scrimp and hold themselves back? What would each scenario do to your energy? So she has a daily, wonderful, inspiring little piece. And that took me through year two. Now, I have felt, okay, so that's my number one tip, is if you can't think of what you need to be learning or what to tell yourself, find yourself a calendar that really speaks to you. There's so many inspirational calendars. And I used to think it was a bit woo-woo, but every day I would read something that would really, really help me. So by now, 2025, I've got, and also I get gifted these things. My sister gifted me this calendar. It's a spiral calendar. And look what I've done. I use sticky notes and I hide notes all over the place for myself. This one, fall in love with yourself, Denise. Number one big deal for me was trying to learn that self-love. So with the sticky notes, what I love about the sticky notes, because I always forget, is I put the sticky notes all over the place. Put them in the car, put them on the steering wheel or under the dash, or when I flip down the visor, there will be a sticky note there. You can put them in the cupboard. You can put them in the refrigerator. You can put them in the drawer in the bathroom. You can put them all over the place. And what I did today, because I was thinking, what were some of those sticky notes? I found a bunch that I put in the drawer. So here's some here that I've done. How will I live if I know all of my dreams are coming true? How will it feel? That's from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Really makes me think when I come across that one. Here's one of my favorites. Everything is always working out for me. Because sometimes we forget or we start comparing ourselves instead of realizing that where you are is where you are. Where you're going to start is right now. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody. Just know it's always working out for you. Oh yeah, this is a good one. How is today going to feel? Who am I being? I get more of what I am. I am a conscious creator. This was a fun little one to find. And I would also recycle them. I would put them in the calendar, sort of jumble them up. I would move them so it wouldn't always be in the same cupboard when I'd open it for my coffee, for example. Here's another one. How is this day going to feel? And I've given myself a list of ideas. Inspired, loving, kind, connected, confident, worthy, invigorated, innovative, deserving. So when you consider all of the ways that your brain has to stop its old way of thinking when it sees a new way of thinking, right? So that's what these are doing. And this one here, I do love this. The situation is being resolved to the highest good of all concerned. All is well and I am safe. This is Louise Hay. And whenever there's a situation that's causing you stress, she wants you to repeat this over and over and over to yourself. Now, you know how we were talking about neuroplasticity? One of the best analogies that helps me remember is we know our brains can change, and it's, if you consider, kind of look at it like a parking lot. Say there are 6 parking spaces in your brain. If they are filled up with all of your thoughts like, I can't do it, it's too hard, it's always been this way, it's too late to change. When your parking spots are all filled up with your old negative way of thinking, there's no new room for your new thoughts. So now that we know it's not too late, that's where we're getting that awareness. What am I thinking? Because you're going to flip that script. And then you're going to say, what are my new thoughts? That's what these little sticky notes are for, because you're going to replace those old negative parking spots with your new way of thinking. Your parking lots are going to be filled with great ideas of your greatness. How do I want to feel? Who am I being? I am confident. I am worthy. I'm not my past. I'm stronger now. And the more you think those new thoughts, they replace the old thoughts. Those old synapses in your brain, they will wither and die and make room for the new thoughts. And the more you think about those and you've filled up those parking spots with all of your good thoughts, there's no more room in the lot. Your brain is filled with all the thoughts you want to think. So that's kind of what we're doing with the sticky notes, with the calendars. It's a continuous reminder of what you're doing, why you're changing, what matters most to you more than anything else. So when you feel that feeling in your gut, ooh, I don't want to think that. That's making me feel fear. You look to one of your stickies. And I even did a bunch, when I am not feeling so great, I will ask myself, what amount of life am I willing to exchange for this? Because when you're stressing out or you're saying yes to something you don't want, you are taking away from everything else in your life. So the stickies, so many things. Look at this one. I'm going to forgive the past versions of myself. I was just trying to survive. Now I know better. Now I know how. Oh, what am I bringing to the world to make it better? Because all we got to do is make the world a little bit better than it was before. It's the easiest thing. If your purpose is only to make the world a little bit better than it was yesterday, that's achievable. That's totally achievable. That ripple effect can be the tiniest, tiniest effect, and it will make a difference. Okay, what about this one? This is really amazing for the very first part of the day. Sometimes when I wake up, I try to remember this. What surprises and delights await me today? Because then your brain will start looking for it. Anyway, you can see I absolutely love the sticky notes. And I use them now because every time there's something I realize that resonates with me, or I read it, or I just think of it all on my own, I write it down and I go hide it somewhere. And it's kind of hijacking your brain because it makes you sort of stop, break your own pattern of thinking, and remember, oh yeah, this is what I want to think. This is what matters to me. And the more I can think about all the great things I want, the more those things are going to start showing themselves to me. Okay, number 3, inspiration cards. Now, the deeper I got into the self-healing, self-love, the more I started to see things that before I might have thought were a little woo-woo, or do I really care about that? But no, I do. So my sister gave me some cards, and you can just pick one a day. And this one says, you are not one thing. You are a million amazing things. Your ending is still unwritten. It's never too late to create the life that you live. You can either worry or believe in yourself. Guess which one feels better? They're just the littlest things, but you know what? Reaching for one of them, put them all, like I've got such a collection now. Oh, I kept all the calendars, all the pages as I'd rip them off. And I've got more inspiration cards that are beautiful. And you can put them all in a jar and just like swirl your hand in and pull one out. See what it says. Because it's going to surprise and delight you all over again. Because I don't remember all of them for 2 years ago or 1 year ago. And it's somebody smarter than me that wrote them. Okay, this one here. No one will ever blame you for trying to get it right. I trust my inner voice. And they're beautiful too. Like they're just gorgeous. The more I breathe deeply, the more calm I find. The mind is what? The mind is fed. Or like my mom used to say, garbage in, garbage out. So you can kind of see what we're talking about here. You are literally surrounding yourself with all of the reminders of what matters the most to you. If you keep watching the same things, if you keep listening to the same things, you keep doing the same things, of course you're going to keep getting the same thing. Your life can't change when you don't change. You need to create your environment to reflect your new personality, your new mood, your new way of moving in the world, your new way of being. And you got to get as many little help things as you can. And that brings me to, let's see, number 4, the alarm on your phone. A gal pal showed me how to do this. On your smartphone, when you're setting your alarms, there's normally a label or a description. And I would write in there for 9 a.m., it would be, everything is always working out for me. At 3 p.m., nothing matters more than how I feel. You can write whatever moves you at whatever time. You can have an alarm go off, and it will alert you. It will interrupt you. It will interrupt your old pattern of thinking. And then once you're used to it being a 9 a.m. alarm saying a certain thing, you got to start switching it up. You might make it a 10:30 alarm that says something different. You might have like a few alarms throughout the day. You could have one when it's time to slow down and shut off everything for the evening to get rid of some screen time. You can keep moving around these alarms because you'll forget. Trust me. And then when it goes off, and it's going to bring a little smile to your face. And sometimes I'll use, when you want to get that good feeling, it might say, isn't it wonderful? This is so great. Everything's always working out for me. And it makes me smile. Every single time you smile, your brain relaxes and feels good. You can physically fool your brain also. So everything you put in your phone alarm, make it something that's going to make you smile. And nobody needs to know why you're smiling. It's going to make you feel good. Okay. The other thing that maybe you want to mark it up with lipstick, or maybe you have a liner or something, or a dry erase. Write something on your mirror, in the bathroom mirror. You can write something also on the mirror as you're leaving the house, if you do that last little check before you're leaving. Write down what's going to make you feel the best. How do you want to start your day? If the first place you see or the first place you go is to look at yourself in the mirror, put your message there. It could be a fall in love with yourself. It could be, don't forget to look yourself in the eyeballs, reminding you when you're brushing your teeth. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. That's what I want to do, is remember to love myself. So the mirror, all the mirrors in your house, have at it. Why not? In the beginning, I used to be embarrassed if people were coming over and I knew they'd be using the washroom. I would kind of hide stuff. And now I don't. Now I'm like, you know what? People want to know why you're changing. That's how I changed, because I kept telling myself, what's the most important thing to me? Okay, another thing that really helped me, number 6, is printing out when you're trying to learn something. There might be a concept that's a little more in-depth. I would photocopy it, or I would find it on the internet. I would print it out. And then I would put it, like when I'd open up the cupboard where I'm going to find my coffee cup. That's where I would have it so I could review it. This book I found in a thrift store out west for like $5. And it's The Language of Letting Go. It's about codependency. But they're all little tiny like meditations. And they're also, so the trick is you gotta have this somewhere where you can see it. And this one is appreciating ourselves. We are the greatest thing that will ever happen to us. Believe it. It makes life so much easier. And that's from her book, Codependent No More. And that is a book by Melody Beattie. So this is, reaching out, seeing what the professionals are doing that have been doing it for years. Now, you probably also know Mel Robbins. Have you seen her book, The High Five? Now, okay, this was a splurge. This was not an inexpensive book, but I'll tell you what, I loved it. It made me get in the habit when I was having my coffee to sit down, settle myself, kind of do a brain dump, because there's all of this crap in your mind and things you don't want to forget and what you want to do. She has an area here to write 5 things that you want. I divided mine in half. So I wrote down 5 things that I felt gratitude for. which was more important to me at that time because I really needed to work on my gratitude muscle. And I started a gratitude challenge with myself. And then what are the things that you're going to do? It just sort of guides you through. Now, I've had a million little journal books, but they all look the same, and I wouldn't remember to pick it up. And this one was different, hard copy. It doesn't matter what you use. Decide what's going to mean the most to change your mood, to change your way of viewing the world. And I found this did it. Now, let me think. What have I got here? Oh, I have my little book that we've talked about in the past. This is my little book of manifestation, my little transformation, how to change my mindset. And I write down what I don't want. I want to focus on what I do want. Now, this I have purposely kept small because I want to put it in my purse. But then you know how everything in your purse, it all gets jumbled together and you don't even see it anymore. So what I'll do is I will realize I'm not looking at it because I got to review it morning and night, morning and night. So I might pick it up and put it in the part of my purse where normally my phone goes. And then it reminds me, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be looking at. This is how I'm reviewing my whole life. Some good tips in here. And I bet you have some also. What stories or what old beliefs are you trying to get rid of? Do you know if you could share in the comments what you're trying, what belief it is, or what is something that you know works for you to help you remember how to change your life? It would be so awesome because it's going to help all of us. It'll help somebody more than you could even imagine. And I'd love to read your comments. I want to share it with everybody and want you to join in. Of course, if you like this new channel, please subscribe, please like. Mostly I love reading the comments more than anything. And you know what else? If you remember nothing of this whole conversation, remember this. And this is one of my sticky notes. Your life is a dream come true. It is for you. It is for me. See you in the next video.